Hello, ladies and gents, boys and girls. Welcome back to another episode of Cup of TCG. My name is Kyle. Your kind of host, I suppose, for all of this now. We are coming at you live once again for another Pro Quest Season 5 gameplay review, commentary, whatever you want to call it, from Dice Saloon Singles down in Brighton. And I am joined by the one and only Ryan Debling. The very first time on the channel. How you doing, man?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. It's funny, good to get you actually in a video. I suppose we've mentioned you a number of times, being our resident Guardian local and, well, I suppose, member of Cup of TCG who hasn't slid into the videos yet. So, yeah, it'd be good to get you in on this game, which is a Guardian versus Dash. It's Victor versus Dash, Theo Mags versus Adrian Queck. While we're getting into this game, give me a little bit of an overview. This is usually a pretty hard matchup for most Guardians, right?
Yeah. As a seasoned Guardian player, I really hate to see Dash, because they can just transform their deck, their sideboard, into basically anything that kind of just kills you. You can pack Rampart and you can pack, your Dash hate, like smashing good times and stuff, but if they flip, what's it called when they, just smash you with like big tall attacks and play like red unmovables and stuff. Yeah, or they boost, or they build like Exodia. It's tough. So yeah.
Exodia Dash, I'm here for that. I love that explanation.
I'm not. I hate it.
So as we can see, we're going to be starting out with Adrian on the play, starting the turn and starting the game with that induction chamber in play. Notably, something a little bit different here: a tunic instead of a Tetlo Foundry up.
I noticed this too. As soon as Dash flips their equipment, just like I mentioned, I'm instantly trying to gauge what they're doing. I actually played Adrian in Swiss at this event, and I did the exact same thing. As soon as he flipped Tunic, I was immediately hesitant to kind of play my normal play. And this is exactly what he did to me as well. So he's either stacking his deck or he's just insanely lucky. But yeah, as a Guardian player, you hate to let Dash go first because this kind of stuff can happen. And you want to kind of guess what they're doing, but after that, you still don't know what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
Are they boosting you? Well, clearly not, right? Because they're probably building the pistol, but they've got Tunic, so I don't know.
It's flexible.
I'm just confused.
It's flexible, right?
It's flexible.
This is probably one of the best opening turns that a Dash could have, right? Like loading up your equipment and then just saying, oh, by the way, I'm going to play one of my other items to build Exodia, as you said. But however,
it's
decent response from Teo, right?
It's either that or it's equip those arms that he's got, right? A slot open for. That's really bad too. But yeah, so Guardian into Dash. So speaking as the Guardian side of things, you see Dash do all this, okay. But how do you board into Dash? I personally run Rampart because I like that idea of just kind of grinding them down slowly. But Theo here has opted for the aggro package. E-strikes. I'm sure he's got Zealous Belting, maybe even Out Muscle, something like that. You just want to basically go 2 chain links, 3 chain links if you can, wide. Just try and put loads of pressure on Dash to eventually get to a point where they can't really sit back and just shoot you all game, right?
Well, Outmuscle's an interesting card into this matchup, and we've been seeing it in quite a number of Victor lists. Like, you love that card, but into Dash with cards like Throttle, if they're running like the Slab Dash variety where they're playing these 7 power attacks, it can almost be a little bit of a hindrance. So I do wonder if Theo's going to be running it. I'm not 100% sure, but certainly. I mean, they're not always going to have that 6 power plus attack in the hand to be able to stop the go again, right?
That's true.
You mentioned something quite interesting about running Rampart into Pistol Dash. Like, why is that like your game plan? Why does that usually work?
I like that because essentially, like, the start of this game, Dash will be, building things, not doing too much to you, like, arsenaling and passing, for example, right? So what Rampart does is allow you to play this aggressive plan in the first half of the game, just trying to smash their face in, right? But eventually they will build a couple of items. They will get to a point where they can shoot you, 3 or 4 or 5 even go again, 2 or 3 times, right? Rampart is just so efficient at blocking that you pitch a card, block for 1 with Rampart and a card, right? So you're blocking 4, for example. Then they break the chain. You pay another 1 from that blue you've already got
Keeps
floating.
building up.
And yeah, you just keep building up so that Rampart's blocking 3 at the end of the turn. And, effectively blocking once, then twice, blocking for 1, blocking for 2, then blocking for 3, which is, pretty damn good, I'd have to say.
Well, yeah, speaking about pretty damn good, not a bad turn here from Theo either, right? Just slamming a Spinal Crush onto the combat chain, Adrian, having to respect it, chucking 2 cards under the bus, but still having to leak a little bit of damage here.
Yeah, Spinal is always good. Even if they never get crushed by it, they're still almost always blocking 6 on 9. So leaking 3 is what you want. You also put Anothos in this matchup because not only will you power it up with Zealous, Belting, and Rouse, but Anothos almost always leaks, which is why it's so good too. So you need to just leak damage all game because eventually, even this like 2, but with 2 induction chambers, this is quite annoying. Rampart here would clear this up all day, right? But Theo's probably just going to face tank this because I'm sure he's got some aggressive amount of cards in his hand. So why would you block, right? You need to kill them quickly.
I mean, at the end of the day, it is only 2, right? But that 2 starts building up, especially towards the later stages of the game. But at this part, Victor very much having to use his HP as a resource, right?
Yeah, you want to do that to kind of get advantage over here. It is just 2 into 2, but eventually, as you can see, you're blocking here just because
garnering respect.
It does eat up. It's like Kodachis in Katsu. You're probably never blocking them, but eventually you do have to respect it because you'll look at your life total and realize that you've just lost like 20 damage to just these little swords or whatever, right?
Yeah, absolutely. X equals 2 here, paying 4.
Yep.
Getting a Plasma Purifier. Yeah, so starting to build up that board state. So 2 induction chambers, a Plasma Purifier, being one of those items, especially for pistol, allowing you to put a steam counter on at the cost of 1, and then removing 1 as an action, usually at the start of the turn, and it pumps up that pistol damage by 1. So you can really start building up like this pistol to be a real force that kind of sips starts in play, stays in play, right?
Notably, he didn't boost, right? Adrian didn't boost, so he's not going to draw a card off this. So at least you've got that, right? Thank God. If he had an Arsenal at the end of that, top deck, red unmovable, mate, I've had that happen to me so many times. It's so bad.
Feels pretty rough. Well, looks like this is going to be a nice and fair flesh and blood here, though, from Victor. Just a big fat 8 debilitate coming at Adrian.
Did he pitch before the blue? Was it yellow?
It looks like a yellow. Not too sure what card it was.
Oh, did he make? Oh, sorry. Did he make a surge? Is that what that surge is by?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
so he would have done that. That's right.
Also, real quick about out muscle. Yes, you're right. It is quite risky. You can see he's got MV in his deck as well, right? So you can get that blocked pretty quickly. You do kind of like if you've got out muscle in this deck. You want to kind of try and high roll them so they haven't got a 6 power in the deck, but also if you put it in Arsenal and you win a trounce and it becomes 7 go again, then they need MV to block it. If they haven't got MV, which is one of 3 cards in their whole deck, right? Then they can't block it, right?
I think there was some slab dash variants that were running some of the 7 power cards, so like your Finals Fighting Spirits and that sort of stuff. But that seems to have fallen out of favor now. Zealous Belting, of course, this card essentially reads in Victor and most Guardians 5 go again.
Staple, absolute staple.
Yeah, generic card. Just say Guardian. Honestly,
it should. Yeah, the thing is when Victor inevitably has to lose an Othos. He might adopt the sledge game plan, which is fine. But if not, if it's just on little hammers, then Zealous might fall out of favor. And then into CNC, so classic Guardian play, 2 really good cards, both generic. There you go.
But 2 of Guardian's strongest cards, both generic.
But really good. Another thing Dash might want to know is he's got Clash of Vigors in his deck, right? If you see that in the pitch stat,
he does indeed.
That might come up. You could probably win a couple of those, to be honest, Dash.
Yeah, there's enough power cards in the deck. Well, cards with an actual power in the deck for him to be able to win a couple of them. Quite an interesting position that Adrian was put into there. I believe the other card in his hand's a Fate, and now that his arsenal is full, he may keep it in hand. It looks like he is. Just going to pass up, doing absolutely nothing here, which certainly isn't optimal. But I wanted to
exactly
keep that
what I said
hand
before, though. Like Dash constantly loves to just do nothing until they get their pistol package ready to go. Then they'll kill you. But this is why the aggressive package is so useful in this matchup, because you can just take advantage of that. So 10 Dominate, Red Macho, another amazing card. He's got 2 cards in hand too, so if he pummels this would be pretty sweet.
This would be a 14 Dominate discard a card from your hand. If this
that's
is
just numbers.
That's a lot of numbers. It does a lot of things right.
Yep.
2 cards in hand. It's a couple of blocks here as well. So what's this block in total? This is 4, 5, 6, 7 block.
So leaking 3 again.
Leaking 3 could be taking a little bit more here if it's a pummel, but no, does not look like it's going to be the case. It's just a surplus cards.
Even the threat of pummel, though, you got to quiver at that a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
Just in case.
So that makes me think that one of the card in Theo's hand is probably a block card.
Block card or a red card, because he didn't even pitch the seismic there. So
yeah, absolutely. Which
he
is
clearly wants his card.
Yeah, it makes me question what's in his arsenal, but who knows? Let's see what Adrian is going to be able to return with here, because while Macho is good, it is just damage. There's no disruption there.
No, it probably is a block card, like you say. So here we go. And he's probably going to win this. Red Thunderquake, Blue Thunderquake, sorry. You probably can't beat that. No.
The blue zipper hit was against that one, so that's not happening.
Yeah. So yeah, he's generated his first gold of the game. That means his Golden Suns are now online, which is really good. In fact, again, when I played Adrian in Swiss, I won by pummeling my Golden Sun for the game, but I had to play all 3 Golden Suns, and if I didn't play the last one, I think I was dead. Golden Sun is really good into dash, because apart from the D-reacts, they have items, but the items don't block, right? So
very true.
That's it.
Drawing those cards is pretty brutal. Honestly, if you're a dash player, it's all well and good when you need to play them and you've kind of got that tempo in hand, but when you're on the back foot, you kind of put like maybe a defense reaction on arsenal or something, and then you draw up an item when you're low. It's like, okay, so this has lost me the game. I see. It's like drawing a rain razors if you're any ranger and you're on like below 10 HP. It feels absolutely brutal, but that is the trade-off for the strength of those items.
They have to have some downside, right?
Absolutely, they can't just be block 3s at the same time as well. Looks like this one's going to be hitting, and then a zipper hit, as a matter of fact. It's going to be coming on in for 5, no boost.
So why do you think Adrian isn't boosting here? He could boost and then shoot, and then or boost and load or something, right?
So I believe the reason is, and this may still be the same mentality that I had back when I used to play this like transformative sideboard dash. You don't want to be boosting until all of your defense reaction, all of your non-mech cards are out of your deck. Because you do run a strong majority of them. A lot of your like unmovables, your sink belows, your fates, and even reinforcer lines. If he's going like full block package, then he doesn't want the opportunity to be able to miss one of them. If he does miss one, then not only has he got rid of a pretty influential card during the game, but also he doesn't gain the go again as well. Yeah. So you want to be
makes sense.
Yeah, you want to be holding off on those until like almost the second or third cycle when they're all gone. But talking about defense reactions,
wow, back to back,
we've seen this turn again, haven't we?
Yeah, and he's got 2 floating, so Zealous CNC Pummel would be pretty spicy.
So reinforcer line here, really good, but
I wonder if he's threatening the pummel, whether you block 6 there and then reinforce. See, look, there you go. So he missed that.
Yeah,
block 6, then reinforce, and then he would catch his fate in Arsenal.
Yeah, that's a pretty large misplay, honestly.
I agree. I think that was very telegraphed. He hasn't. I think that's the first pummel all game too. So I think you probably could have hedged that was pummel, and then that you would have been able to keep a fate in Arsenal, keep 4 damage. 4 HP rather, and then
we were just talking about how important those defense reactions are. Like obviously wanting to play that game of not boosting until you see them all, just because of how strong they are. Well, here's your out muscle, Adrian. Do you have the response? Or
See, another good thing is I think I've seen Adrian block with MV a few times in this game already.
what's he got? So he's got a
got a high-
twin
twin
drive, a
drive.
high octane. We can't see
Yeah.
the other two cards.
See,
It
you
looks
just have
like
to
a
kind of
zipper hit.
hedge in this matchup. You need to try it. Even if like he blocks 6 here, and one with a 6 power. Oh, you got 2 cards out of the hand.
Yeah,
you
absolutely. He's done enough.
Arsenal something, move on with your day. He didn't make a surge as well, so he's clearly wanting to go again for something else.
Let's having a think. Does indeed have go again. Just swings the
Yeah.
Anothos. Wants to put
Yeah,
this card in his
I
arsenal.
really rate Out Muscle. It's just so much fun to play. 6 into 6 is so good.
I mean, that is just straight big numbers, right? So
Yeah.
very nice
Um,
from Theo here. So yeah, 10 HP benefit right now for Victor, but
Yeah.
Adrian has
Honestly, he's
a
doing
one-card
well.
hand.
Yeah, he's doing well. But to be honest, I've been in this position before on like the aggro package, and if you miss one turn of like decent disruption, so far Theo's done a really good job of just keeping the pressure on. But if you draw dud hand, or you try and attack but it's not disruptive, and Adrian decides to keep it, and then starts pressuring you, and it could just start spiraling. I've definitely been there before. However, Theo does have all his armor, and obviously Adrian has a 1-card hand here, so it's looking pretty good, to be honest.
Yep, 1-card hand when it's a blue. I mean, it'll be enough, right? So
Oh, here we go.
here's a Trounce, and unsure if he won that
It
one.
looks
I think
like
he did.
it looks like he won that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, he loses the second though, but cracking the gold.
Yep. So he's most likely going to win this one now.
Yeah, there we go. Red
Yeah.
Chokeslam.
So again, this is good stuff. So he might have a Out Muscle in his hand. That would be spicy. But either way, Trounce is just such an efficient block here. Block 3, and you get Vigor, Might, and a gold. And now he's drawn another 3 blocks, so he could easily block the last pistol shot. And then
Pistol one
there
more.
you go, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a difficult position for Adrian to be in here. Like, he needs to start pressuring some damage, and, well, he has been able to get 2 cards out of his hand, but of course, off the back of the Trounce win, Theo essentially hasn't lost anything here.
No.
And being able
In
to
fact,
block
he's
6.
gained something.
He has. He's gained the vigor. He's gained the might. And, well, there is
Oh.
another red macho just coming in for a big
11.
fat 10 dominate. 11 dominate even with the might.
Yeah,
You're
with the
right.
might. Yeah.
And Adrian
Spicy.
is now missing incredibly important steam counters on his pistol, on his plasma purifier, on his induction chamber. So not only is he facing down the barrel of a pretty large hit, but he's also not at his like peak damage output off the back of the 3-card hand here. And he's having to block. Oh my god, he's having to block with the arms as well. So he's not going to be able to transform the arms into any of the base stuff.
He's not had an arsenal either, so I'm sure he would have loved to have put a D-React in his arsenal for something like that. Yeah, I do feel Adrian has probably low-rolled a little bit there, not getting his arms on so late in the game, right? I think ideally you want to put those on super quickly.
Yeah, I suppose it is only 3 cards in a 60+ card deck that you usually see here for dashes who are playing this almost not fatigue, but like long con game plan.
Yeah.
The dominate it does afford Adrian a 3-card hand, but leaving quite a lot of damage.
Yeah, I think Theo's fine to obviously not take too many cards out of Adrian's hand there, because it's 11 dominate, and he saw that he blocked with his arms there. So, all right, interesting block here. He's going to block with Civics, which will give him a quicken token. I normally really hate blocking dash with Civics because he's still got 2 cards in his hand. So even though he's got 2 induction chambers, he can actually shoot 3 times now, right?
Yes, absolutely. This next pistol swing is essentially going to be free. You only put the 1 steam counter on it from your pitch zone, but you don't have to pitch for the induction chamber. So this is going to be 3 go again. Looks like potentially floating the tunic here as well, just to be able to put the counter on the next induction chamber, just so we can continue that chain.
Yeah, exactly why I don't like blocking with Civics against Mech, because he blocked for 2, leaked 1, and now he's allowed to send 3 more damage again for free, basically, right? So
Absolutely.
what did they actually block? They actually did more damage to you in a real roundabout way, right? But what can you do, right? You need to get rid of Civics at some point. You need to get your 2 life from it in like the least punishing way. There's an argument to be made that once Adrian starts spending more cards from his hand, like now when he's starting to add more to his items and stuff, and then you block with Civics perhaps, but I don't know, it's always tricky.
This is an interesting play here. Being able to load the induction chamber and then just pitching 2 for 5 damage on the twin drive. Of course, no boost here either. Putting a couple more cards into the deck, not losing any of those. Adrian is trying to play this game out as long as possible, but a Spinal Crush with 2 cards in hand and 1 floating.
Yeah, so as telegraphed as Pummel gets, I reckon, because he didn't even make a Surge and he has 1 floating. So with 2 cards in hand, you could easily make a Surge, play Spinal, and then still Pummel. But he didn't make a Surge, so he might be pitching a red here to Pummel. Which, you know, he does the same job, but not being able to Surge as well is a bit unfortunate for the Guardian player.
And this is an interesting thing, right? Like, even if this isn't a pummel in Theo's hand, like, Adrian has to think about it and almost respect it at this point, because it's coming in for 9, buffing it by 4 to be able to take it to 13. Adrian's only on 15 HP. He's not got much to play with here. With Theo, yes, he's only 6 HP in the lead. He's almost got a full equipment suite to play with. He's got the balance, he's got the gauntlets, he's got the tectonic plating. Effectively buffing him by, 3, 6, 9 HP, putting on that round 30. There's no way he only gives him 3 here. Oh my god, he did, and he pitched a CNC for it as well.
Yeah, so that's why he didn't make a Surge, because he had a red, right? So I was going to say, like, Dash probably best case scenario here, like, get Spinal Crushed and then plays an item, right? That's probably pretty good for them. But if it is Pummel, they have to discard a card, which means they might not be able to play their item, you know. So I think blocking 3 there is kind of what you had to do, I suppose, to stay in the game. There you go. See, I've not seen this game, by the way. I'm just that good.
I don't think this was caught, but notably he wouldn't be able to do that, right?
What was that?
He put a counter on induction chamber and then played Plasma Purifier. So he would actually be
Spinal Crush.
Yeah, he got Spinal Crush. It looked like that was missed during the day, so he should
totally
only be able to play the Plasma Purifier here instead of load that Steam counter.
Yeah, you're totally right. It might just be, so when I play Guardian and I do stuff like Spinal Crush and it lands,
leave it.
This is just my idea. Yeah, I just like leave it off the side. Like, I don't put it in graveyard straight away. I just put it there just to remind us.
Do the same thing with Run the Ledger. Whenever I'm playing,
or Remorseless or something, right?
Absolutely. If there's
it's just easier for everyone to remember, I suppose, because I immediately forgot as well, right? I'm so into this game, I just forgot.
I do wonder if at this point it actually matters though, because Theo's on 21, he's got a 4-card grip. We've got Adrian who's been forced to block turn after turn, basically barely got the motors running here as Dash. This is like as off as it kind of comes for Dash here, and even though he's swinging in for a big fat 4 on the pistol, Theo has enough HP to be able to just say, no blocks most likely, but he has the test just to be able to full cover it, and the wallop to be able to create the vigor, I believe, of this one as well. So not only a gold, drawing that, creating a vigor, and drawing the wallop. I mean, Adrian's got to be cursing whoever created some of these cards right now.
Yeah, I'd say the only thing that the Spinal Crush misplay thing allowed Adrian to do, obviously, was to play the Plasma Purifier. So that perhaps might have changed how Adrian would have blocked. He might have blocked 6 instead of 3 on that Spinal Crush. So he'd effectively be on 6 here instead of 3. So in actual fact, although he technically missed the trigger and played an extra card when he shouldn't have, it might have been for his benefit. So, you know, it is what it is, though. We miss trigger sometimes. It does happen. Yep,
it wasn't caught. While I did say live earlier on, this game is not going on right now. This is a recording, so we'll let the guys check that out when they watch this back. Theo though with the vigor, floating and
Ooh, he's
actually
gonna crack
cracking
a
a gold here to be able to
So
draw another
interesting.
card.
I wonder if he's trying to rip Golden Sun here.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I don't think we've seen one all game, right?
We've seen
Or am
one, I think, blocked with early on, and that was
Right.
pre-gold, so it's definitely not something that we've seen too commonly, but that's another spinal coming on out for 9.
So I love that play. I've done that many times too. You think you're going to hit a blue off top, so you just crack a gold, draw a blue, play spinal. So he's most likely got another red in his hand that he wanted to keep an arsenal. So he, instead of pitching both his... in fact, he couldn't have done that. No, yeah. So he must have had a red in his hand too that he wants to arsenal here. So, you know, pitching a card to break a gold, just so that you can ensure that your momentum is just going to keep on chugging, is just so strong. And so, there's some arms there.
Blocking 6, and then, blocking 10 total here off the back of the Fate as
10.
well. So it is going to be full covered.
Blue.
Most likely just to be able to load up your counters and then essentially pass your turn. I think it could even be another defense reaction, so it could be putting it straight into Arsenal. But nope, setting up for that pitch, and it be blue, it appears, the way that he's positioning this.
It's just far too late at this point, though, I think, right?
I completely agree. We haven't seen any unmovables or anything like that from Adrian. I do wonder if he's even on that card.
Yeah, you're right. Only reinforced Sync and Fate, I think, so far, right? Yeah, I do think, you know, Adrian's done well in his approach to this matchup, but I just think Theo's had, you know, all the gas that he needed to just put pressure on.
Absolutely. Oh, and there it is. I think that's it, right? Unless we see a reinforcer line in hand. I mean, I think this is game now. Coming in for 8, 4-card hand, blocking 4 of it here and fating 1 away. I mean, what is he looking for?
Reinforce wouldn't work. Yep, there you go.
There you go. A very convincing game there from Theo Mags on Victor. One of our really first finalists now, of course, going to go into that grand final of Dice Saloon Singles ProQuest Season 5 against Callum Young's Viserai. We'll pop up the bracket on screen just so you can see the breakdown, beating out Finley Shepherd on Bolton. Double cup of TCG, cup of TCG team kill in the top 4 there, unfortunately for them. But
unfortunately,
it is what it is. I suppose, Ryan, let's get your thoughts as a Victor player there. Is this kind of how you expect this game to go? You said that this is like quite a historically harder matchup for the Guardians, right?
Yeah, in all honesty, I was kind of expecting a harder fought game for Theo. He kind of ran away with it at the very start and then just kept it the whole way. I mean, he only blocked with Civics that whole game. The rest of the armor suite was untouched, right? I think essentially, you know, CNC, Pummel, Zealous, E-Strike, etc. All these like insanely good Guardian cards. Well, insanely good cards that Guardian use.
Yeah.
You know, if you're Dash trying to set up pistol items, etc., it's the exact type of gameplay you need to enforce in order to penalize them. Like, you know, make them feel bad for keeping their hand so they can play a non-block item, right? You know, and take a bit of damage early on in the game. Use your life as your resource, like you said, because your cards are just so much more valuable attacking than blocking into a pistol for 2, you know, twice or something, right? So I think it was surprising to see Theo win by such a large margin. Normally, games like that tend to kind of swing in Dash's favor halfway through the game, and then your cards just block terribly, and eventually you just kind of get grounded into dust. You know, their whole deck is blue. They can effectively block however much they'd like and just keep a blue and just, you know, smash you. But, you know, all in all, I think a little lucky on Victor's part, a little unlucky on Dash's part. Victor played well. Dash, unfortunately, you know, a couple misplays there with the CNC Pummel. Yeah. Losing the Fate for Scene in the Arsenal and taking 4 damage. You know, this type of gameplay, I think, is probably what allowed Victor to just win by such a large margin.
No, absolutely. It certainly feels like some of these big dominate attacks as well that we were seeing. Right, I don't think we saw one Golden Sun overpowered.
Surprising. He didn't win with Golden Sun, but he has Red Macho, and one of the Red Machos was for 11. So
it was
That's a pretty good. It means basically 11 overpower, right? 11 dominates, basically the same thing.
I mean, essentially, yeah.
Into
It's
dash, right? It's the same thing.
yeah, really, really strong. Nice to
Yeah.
see that coming out from the Guardians. Something a little bit different. Not something that we saw the blues quite a bit, but reds. Hey, it's a lot of damage, and most decks can't deal with it. So fair play to him.
Yeah.
Right.
And even out muscle.
Yeah, Outmuscle
Amazing.
was an interesting card. Absolutely. Those longer chain links. Not something that you usually see for Guardians,
No.
but excited to see what happens in the grand finals. Theo Mags versus Callum Young. We'll be back
Our homeboy.
very, very soon for that grand finals. See you in a bit.
In a bit.